Devices Radio Network.
Franco is pretty smart, but Franco is a child. And when it comes to the day of the contest, I'm his father. He comes to me for advices. So it's not that hard for me to give him the wrong advices.
Welcome back to Advices Radio. You are listening to episode number 104. I'm Scott McNally, and this program is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You can use our code ADVICES for additional savings, plus it helps to support our programming. I'm still super fond of the MPA muscle intrusion as well as the Pepto Pro. I use those religiously with every workout. Even though I'm trying to lose some fat now, I've worked my macros to the point that I can keep that stuff in. Always helps me with my pump, always helps me get through, especially the workouts that last a little bit longer. Today, we are going to do a focus on business, and we've done enough of these business-focused episodes. I thought we needed to come up with like a subtitle, kind of like how we have the Huge as Fuck episodes. So you can thank Andrea Watson for this title. We are calling these episodes Fiscal Fitness. Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. I like it. It's cheesy. So Fiscal Fitness, we're going to have Mike Clay on today from Best Bar Ever. Mike Clay has been supporting Bodybuilding Nerds Radio for a long time. And in turn, we've been a huge supporter of their product. The original perishable bars that they put out, especially the John Meadows dishes, they were at the time, they were the best bar I had ever had in my life. And those bars were discontinued. Mike is going to tell us a story about that. They have now come out with the new perishable bars. They're the new improved version. I'm really excited about it because I've been waiting for a while for this. The flavors are out of this world. Mike's going to tell us more about that. At this time, they are released. At the time of the recording, they had not come out yet, but they are out now. You can go to bestbarever.com to check them out. You can order some for yourself, and soon they will be coming to grocery stores, national outlets near you. So I'll tell you what, this is an inspirational story. It's more than just Mike talking about his protein bar. This is the story of a little kid that grew up overweight, and I think he felt pretty helpless from what it sounds like at a certain point. But he took the reins, and he made some better choices, better decisions. Those decisions were not only to get healthier, but they also led to this amazing product that he's developed and that he is now experiencing some success with. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about the new bars. I'm eating them like they're going out of style. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope that you are as inspired by it as I am. And stay tuned because we have a whole bunch more coming out at vicesradio.com. And of course, check us out on YouTube. A lot of the new episodes are also being done on video. This one isn't, but a lot of them are. So check it out. We've got a lot of podcasts over there, video casts, if you will. All right, guys, here we go. Mike Clay. All right, guys, welcome back to Advices Radio. And up next with me, I've got Mike Clay from Best Bar Ever. Thank you for joining me, man. It's been a while since I've been wanting to get you on.
Man, thanks for having me. Always grateful.
Dude, so we just had the live podcast event, which was sponsored by Best Bar Ever. So thank you, first of all, very much for having done that with us. I really appreciate it, and I know that the listeners and everybody else that took part did too.
Man, you guys have been so good to us. It's the least I can do for you, man.
I really appreciate it. Like I said, we had an opportunity to hear a little bit about the history of how you built your business. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. But first of all, I want to hear about the new perishable bars. And I don't mean this as a sales type thing. I just want to know, what do you have out? Because these are honestly my new favorites.
Yeah, man. For those that don't know, last January, I sold my company to Nature's Bounty. They're a third largest supplement company in the world. And they basically said, Mike, we want you to launch the fresh bars nationwide, but I didn't know how to do it without compromising them. So I had to pull the bars off of the market. I figured out how to make them, but actually make them a little bit better. So what we've been doing was, I said, it's almost like you get a second chance to do something over.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, if I was back in high school, what would I do type deal.
Yeah.
And so we got to do that where with the new bars, it's grass-fed protein now.
Okay.
We increased the fiber from flax, chia, and oats. So it's not just all a syrup-based fiber.
Oh, nice.
Additionally, I lowered the fat, lowered the carbs, lowered the sugar, but kept the protein constant. So it's a 55-gram bar, so it's a little bit smaller in size, but the protein quality improved and the nutritional quality improved.
That's
and ultimately,
cool,
it's just a little bit more responsible choice. So it'll be a little bit new packaging, some pretty cool, now that Nature's Bounty's putting some dollars behind the marketing there, where we're no longer bootstrapping it. So we're excited, honestly, to see what happens, man.
And it's come from such a far distance now from where it started out. I do want to say though that I think you guys nailed the flavors. All three flavors are just amazing. So I liked the old ones, the old perishable bars, and that's where you guys started. Am I right?
Yeah, everything actually started in my home kitchen.
You're
kidding?
Used to
make them. No, literally used to make them by hand, 16 hours a day. I would get this. I would cut them so I'd roll them out, then I'd cut them with a butter knife, and I'd use a ruler to measure the portion size.
Really?
Yeah. Then I put them in a plastic Ziploc bag, and being the marketing geniuses we were, we called them the fresh protein bar because we were making them fresh.
Yeah,
That's all we were doing. And so it actually started. The roots are there. It started with ingredients from our pantry, fruits, nuts, oats, protein powder, honey, molasses is how the bar got started. So it literally is close to homegrown. To this day, you met Shane French, one of our chefs.
Oh, yeah.
Literally to this day, we're making bars in our home kitchen. If we can't make it at home, it doesn't make it to the market.
No kidding.
Now, yeah, don't get me wrong. That's where our ideas start.
Okay.
So it's in the kitchen, not behind a desk or a spreadsheet or in a lab by food scientists. It's actually like I'd bake you a cake, man. So
hell yeah.
It starts there. Then we say, okay, this is awesome. How do we commercialize it? And then we go to our co-man and actually complete that full cycle process. But everything still starts in our kitchen.
Okay. Nice, man. That's pretty cool. You guys started with like just the original best bar, right? And this is when you were talking about the protein bars though that you guys made at home. When you were putting those in plastic bags, how did you find your first sales?
Man, the first bar, literally at the time, maybe it'd help if I give you a little bit of a backstory on how we got into this whole space and kind of what we're doing. Then that'll pivot into how I'll walk you through.
Because I'm curious to know how a guy started making his own protein bars. You had to find somebody to buy those protein bars from you, and then it had to grow from there. So, yeah. Let's. So, man,
my story began when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
I was 215 pounds, and I was fat before I knew what fat was, man. I'd already lost the race and didn't even know I was playing the game. By the age of 14, my mom died of cancer.
Oh, man.
And I ate everything in sight.
Okay.
I'm a grown up and don't know how to deal with it. So imagine a kid trying to deal with that.
Yeah.
And when I would eat, for that second, I'd feel good. Okay. I got up to 240 pounds. And then fast forward, 25th birthday, I'm 300 pounds, pre-diabetic and miserable.
Well, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, all because I had a bad relationship with food.
Yeah.
So literally, my 25th birthday, I spent the day in bed crying. And I did that because I'm the biggest quitter you'll ever meet, man. Stopped and started over 100 diets. And the thought of one more diet, man, I was like, literally, if you cut off my arm right now and I lose 100 pounds, I gladly have one arm now. That's how bad I felt. Yeah. It's like a different mindset when, don't get me wrong, when I was 12, I was still making those decisions. When I was 14, I was still making those decisions. But for your entire life, you've had a bad relationship with food. Mm-hmm. It's almost depressing when you realize you got a bad relationship with food, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, how do I do this?
So it's all you've ever known.
Yeah, so I developed basically I spent the day crying, and then by the evening, my favorite movie was Rocky. I had the Rocky soundtrack in my Walkman, and I said, "Man, don't go out like this. Come on, figure this out." And it was literally started trying to understand why it was so hard.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with physiology, nothing to do with calories, protein, fat, or carbs.
Yeah.
Had everything to do with psychology. So when you've got a bunch of bad skills and bad habits, more importantly, how do you change those?
Yeah.
So I started developing a lot of people do this still today, basically a psychological set of rules for my life when it came to food. And it all revolved around being prepared. Really that simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, man, I'm eating 4 meals a day, 7 days a week. I got 28 decisions to make. I couldn't be trusted 28 times.
Yeah.
But I wasn't worthless, man. I could be trusted once, right? So started doing what a lot of people do, this Sunday ritual where I prepared all my meals.
Right.
And it was awesome. It was either yes or no. Did you do this one thing? And then what I learned was if it was convenient and easy, I could do it, even with a bunch of bad skills and bad habits, right?
Yeah.
So that developed, and then I lost 100 pounds over the course of a year. Literally changed my life forever.
Were you lifting weights at the time or just dieting?
Yeah, I've lifted weights the entire time. I was a strength and conditioning coach in college as an undergrad.
Okay.
Always been fascinated with being strong, but unfortunately, I didn't learn the lesson on being healthy. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Got tied up into that, and basically lost 100 pounds, and it was life changing.
I bet.
And I literally went from I was the guy that used to stare at my feet. I wouldn't look you in the eye. I wouldn't smile. Wouldn't. I was like, who I was as a person was defined by food. How people treated me, how I treated them, what I was, what I could become. All that stuff started with food.
Yeah.
And when I took back control of that relationship, it was like the world opened up. It was like, it's insane, man. You start saying, oh, this is what it's like to live. This is what it's like to go to the beach and take your shirt off and not be scared.
Yeah.
Right. So it was awesome. So at the time, this was right at 8 years ago, I was like, man, I want someone to do this for me. I'm tired of spending my Sunday making all my meals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was pre all the meal delivery companies that are out now.
Yeah, you could have done it if you had a bunch of money now, but yeah, back then they didn't have anything.
Yeah, it wasn't available. So literally quit my job, sold everything I owned, moved in with my college roommate, my best friend from college. I said, man, I'm coming. It's going to take me 33 hours to drive cross country. I was living in Scottsdale, and he lived in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay.
I said, man, I'm coming. You're going to have to pay all my bills. I'm going to sleep on your couch, and we're going to do something awesome. That's kind of how we got started. So,
did you know what it was at the time?
Yeah, it was going to be this prepared meal company. So
okay.
We basically built this meal delivery company that we had farmers and ranchers we knew and trusted, chefs and commercial kitchens, and then ultimately went from one location in the beach to 200 locations up and down the eastern U.S.
No kidding.
So it was awesome. And then how this ties back to the bars was, man, I started getting questions like, hey, I get it, but sometimes chicken and broccoli isn't enough. I want a snack, or I need something more convenient.
Yeah.
And my gut was to say, okay, well, why don't you drink a protein shake, have a small handful of nuts, a piece of fruit.
Right.
But then I started understanding having a clean shaker cup is actually a skill, right? So it was too complex.
Having a what?
A clean shaker cup.
That's what I thought you said.
Literally, if you've ever tried to make a shake where it's not clean, man, you don't drink that shake that day.
No, it's not good, is it?
So, man, I was like, well, what if we had a bar? And at the time, this is when sugar alcohols were really big. Yeah. And basically bars were basically candy bars with a bunch of sugar alcohols.
Absolutely.
And that was what was popular. But when I would eat them, because I abused my body for so long, man, I don't digest stuff well. Like I I change the rules my body operates by. For example, I don't make any hydrochloric acid when I eat.
You're kidding.
Right? So I have to supplement with that. And that comes from 25 years of abuse, man.
Yeah.
Right? So when I started eating bars with like sugar alcohols, I reacted really strongly to them. Yeah. I said, man, when you eat food, you should feel good afterwards. If you eat something and feel bad afterwards, probably a sign you shouldn't be eating it. You know, this isn't about whether or not sugar alcohols are good or bad. Yeah. It's more about when you eat food, how do you feel? If you can handle that stuff and feel great, eat it. But if you can't, you probably shouldn't. So I personally said, man, what if we made our own bar?
Yeah.
And I said, all right, well, if I'm not trying to commercialize it, like that wasn't the goal, wasn't to sell it. The goal was just to make something awesome. So I said, well, man, what if it was perishable? What if the thing would go bad? What if it needed refrigeration? What if we treated it like food? And I discovered a real simple secret. And here's the best way to describe this.
Okay.
If I'm going to make you a protein shake, I put protein powder in a cup, and let's say I put water, shake it up. You drink it. It's awesome. You love it.
Okay.
How come when we go to make a protein bar, we put the protein powder in, but pull the water out? And we replace that with some type of syrup or binder. So imagine back to that shaker cup example. Mm-hmm. I put my powder in. Now I put a bunch of syrup in there, shake that up. You would never drink it. So why would you eat it?
Okay.
Right. So just because something's in the shape of a bar, you don't kind of think about what the ingredients actually are.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd never take a spoonful of syrup and just down that.
God, no.
Right. But you would take a small handful of apples and eat that, or a small handful of nuts, or you drink a protein shake. So literally I said, all right, what if I put a small protein shake, a small piece of fruit, and a small handful of nuts all into a bar? That was how it was. And then the first version was chalky, nasty.
Yeah.
So I started adding water, man.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, how do I eliminate that? And basically started playing by a different set of rules. Okay. So we like to say our secret ingredient is actually water.
Yeah.
Right? So one thing you can't live without, so why shouldn't you put it in the bar?
Huh.
Right? So when we did that, it also means we had to be refrigerated.
Okay.
Because that's what happens. If you're trying to make something shelf stable, you pull the water out.
I get it. That makes sense.
Right?
Okay.
So started making these bars, literally hand rolling them 16 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday. I remember the first one I wrapped up in like a little saran wrap.
Yeah.
And I took it like it was a newborn child to all my friends. Okay. I was like, look at this. This thing's awesome. And at the time, no one would sell ingredients to me. So I literally went to GNC, went to Costco, went online, ordered every protein powder I could find, every vanilla powder I could find. Did over 100 tests. And that's ultimately how, through a lot of trial and error, we came up with the original protein bar flavor. So it was just a combination, simple stuff: fruits, nuts, oats, protein powder, honey, molasses. Okay. And then in making those, we started getting some pretty crazy reactions, man. People were like, this is the best bar I've ever had. Best bar ever. Best bar ever.
Who are these people?
So literally, at the time, we had our meal delivery company going, and I was working at a martini bar at night doing security.
Oh, no kidding.
So literally my first customers were people at the martini bar at night, man. They were trying the bar, and they were our first taste testers. And then we partnered up with a local beauty salon in there, and I would literally just go and meet people one-on-one, have them try it. And just so happened they liked it and would buy it. It was really that simple. So, so that became part of our meal delivery company as we expanded. And then ultimately we sold off the meal delivery company and then went all in on to figuring out how to make these bars and do something on a bigger level.
That's cool. So when you did start selling the bars, now I'm curious, like who were your first purchasers for the actual bar company?
So we first started doing bars, we got real heavy into fitness.
Okay.
Right. So John Meadows is a business partner of mine, really great guy. He helped promote us, and then we would literally go to CrossFits, gyms, you name it. We would set up a table just like a mini version of what you saw at the Arnold, but we would do it on a very micro level.
Yeah, yeah.
Any place people were being active, we showed up, right?
Okay.
And then we'd have you try it, and then we'd sell you something on site was our goal. And then slowly built that through word of mouth and started offering it online. And then that expanded to our first trial was with Whole Foods in the Mid-Atlantic region.
Okay, nice.
And so we were doing that and actually did pretty well in there. And that ultimately is what led to Nature's Bounty acquiring us.
Okay. You mentioned, big name companies like Whole Foods. I've seen the shelf stable bars in various drugstores that I've been in. I want to say I've seen them in grocery stores.
Well, let's tell the truth behind the shelf stable bar.
Okay.
It's not the best bar ever. And here's the whole story there. So as I mentioned, I'm making these bars highly perishable, and Nature's Bounty is like, hey, we want to buy you guys, and we want you to keep making those fresh bars once you can figure it out. But part of our acquisition, we want you to make us a shelf stable bar.
Yeah.
And my response back was, can't do it. I can make you a shelf stable bar, but it won't live up to the name. Just because fundamentally, I believe those types of bars need to have water, right? That's a fundamental belief I have is that the higher water activity perishable bars will always be better because they solve all the problems. The chalky, the gritty, like how stuff hydrates and tastes is all solved with water. So I told them that I would do it, but it wasn't what our passion or where we lied. We ultimately came down to a decision. Do we take care of our employees and our investors and see this through in order to have a shot at relaunching the fresh bar nationwide with a large company's backing? Because the truth is, I took best bar as far as I could take it on my own.
Yeah.
And you start realizing the bigger your goals are, the more help you need, right? And so in partnering with Nature's Bounty, we had a nice shot at doing what we wanted to do, but we had a little bumpy road getting there. So we had to discontinue the original fresh line when we were acquired. Then the shelf stable line came out, and we just did a poor job communicating what we were really doing. So there were a lot of people that were like, oh man, you guys sold out. You know, so we've basically just been scrambling since we sold the company on, okay, how do we get the fresh bar back in the market? That's what actually happens end of April.
Okay.
So we actually relaunched the bars nationwide. The shelf stable, while it is in a lot of locations, it's not who we are, what we want to do. So we'll be pulling that off from the market.
It's not going to be available anymore, huh?
Yep.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Man, the truth is you got to stand for something. We can't straddle the fence on this. If I'm out there saying the best bars are refrigerated bars, I can't have a bar that's not refrigerated. It's
I take it Nature's Bounty, then they're okay with that. Like basically what you're saying is you're now going to replace that with even a higher quality bar for a different market.
100%.
Gotcha.
And the reason, think about how people are purchasing now. So that whole analogy, the perimeter of the store versus the aisles, well, that's caught up into convenience food. So now in the perimeter, you're seeing convenience foods.
That's true, isn't it? That's where I get my kombucha.
Yeah, so we'll often be on the side of the shelf beside them. So the refrigerated bar category is actually exploding. You know, when I first started making refrigerated bars, you would go talk to a buyer and they're like, you want me to put that where? They're like, man, get out of here.
Dude, now they're like becoming everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, now you can go to Walmart and you'll find refrigerated bars there, right? So the space is exploded. So they're very excited to have a shot. But ultimately, you know, when you buy a company and you bring a couple founders on board, man, it's got to be authentic to what you purchased. You know, how many companies get acquired and then turn into something they were never meant to be. So I think they're looking forward to us doing what we where our passions are, what we really want to do.
That's badass, man. And like you were saying too, so the shelf stable bar is what allowed you to get where you're at, and now this is going to be the next step. So you've got the 3 bars. When you say that they're going to be distributed, where will people be able to find these? Like right out the gate?
So we actually will have 4 flavors to start with. There's a dark chocolate almond cashew. There's a chocolate peanut butter. There's also blueberry vanilla, and then a vanilla fruit and nut. And they'll start online, and then we're going back to our roots, man. We had a lot of loyal customers that we're reaching back out to, let them try the bar, and does it live up to the name? Did we deliver? Yes or no? If not, the best bar is only the best bar if you say it is, not if I say it is. Then that's just some type of marketing gimmick, man.
Yeah.
So it'll start online. You'll start seeing the health and fitness channels, then you'll start seeing it in retail towards the end of this year.
Nice, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And they are, like I said at the beginning, this has probably been the best protein bar that I ever had. What's the blueberry flavor you mentioned?
It's blueberry vanilla cashew.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite right there.
Yeah, a mistake I made the first time around, and we did this with the shelf stable. So the first best bar was named by our customers. They were highly involved in the thing, man. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to do something awesome. So a mistake we made, even with the shelf stable being a little bit off course, a mistake we made was we didn't include our customers in those decisions. So what we're trying to do coming back is, hey, here's what we stand for. Here's what we're trying to do. And we want you to participate in it. Because again, we want it to be authentic. We don't want it to be just some gimmick or marketing ploy.
Okay.
So feedback, people trying it. What do they want to see? What would they want to do different? It's almost like the bar for the people, if that makes sense. It's like, what would you personally want to eat? That's what I care about, not what do I want to sell you. You know, it's not real authentic to think that way.
Yeah.
So I'll give you some examples of wild stuff I make on the weekends.
Okay.
Right. So I make some really, really highly perishable bars, like 2-day shelf life stuff.
Oh, wow.
Where I experiment with like actual sweet potatoes, cream of rice, like make different types of pre-workout and post-workout combinations. So it's all about like, not only what do I want to eat, but it's like, okay, what do you want to see? Like there's no one doing a really awesome mango pineapple protein bar when you think about it. Right?
No, there isn't.
So do people, if they want traditional chocolate flavors and traditional protein bars, I'll make them. But if they want to get wild and make some cool stuff, I'll make that too. Right? We got an idea for bars that you actually top yourself, almost protein bar icing. Right?
Okay.
So to think about that, the bars that are coated right now, those coatings solidify.
They do.
There's nothing wrong with that, but the texture is different than the icing on a cake.
Sure.
I want to make protein cake icing and put them on bars.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, so it'll be something you actually, almost a condiment for protein bars. You top yourself. So that's like the stuff we work on just on the weekends and for fun and make for family and friends.
Right on, man. I really appreciate you coming on, Mike, and telling me, everything that you guys have done with business. I remember when you guys had released the shelf stable bars, you were already talking about making this happen and making this transition back. It's really cool to kind of finally get to see this come together. I've been wanting to have you on forever, and you had said, well, just wait till the bar is finished, and we finally got you. I didn't realize part of your story, man, and how deep this really goes. I think it's really inspirational. I think there's a lot of people out there that would love to be able to do something in business, especially within the fitness world, and it's cool to see your passion and see how far it's carried you.
Well, man, we're very fortunate. We just want to do good things, and we appreciate your support. And VJ, you guys have been awesome. VJ actually, a lot of people don't know this, but such a comic book nerd. I told him some comic books that I had missed out on, and he sent me like 20 of these in the mail, man. It's awesome.
I remember that.
It's cool to hang out with people that you have business passions with, but also personal passion.
Absolutely. Are you going to be doing anything with John Meadows in the bars now? You said that he's helped you in the past distribute. He may help you in the future here too now?
Yeah, John's going to be a part of our company. He, the first time he actually tried it was at the Arnold. Loved them.
Okay.
So I told John, he reached out. I was like, man, let's do something. And I said, not until I make sure you love them, man. Because, again, I want it to be real. So we're working with John. Probably won't do the larger format bar.
Okay.
We did this wild, 20 gram of protein bar for him.
Hell yeah. Those are my favorites. I got pictures of those up on my studio wall right next to me.
That was almost, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually lost money on every bar I sold of that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
because
I bought a good number of those.
we didn't price it the way it needed to be, because I was like, I don't know if the market can sustain it, but I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So we viewed it as a marketing expense.
Okay.
With John. So will we do that again? Probably not.
I guess not.
Probably
I never
not.
knew that.
It doesn't change, the fact that the core philosophy of the brand, core philosophy of the bars are the same. Same reason why John worked with me in the beginning. So.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I'm excited to see what happens. This has been really cool. So guys, for another episode of Advices Radio with Mike Clay and Best Bar Ever, we will see you soon. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks, man. We'll talk soon.